We're almost there, so I guess it's time to start slowing down a little bit. How do we do that? I guess I should try using the brakes. Oh, uh. Dang. I wonder if I can save it.
The same technology that allows our satellites to communicate across the cosmos also allows us to send tiny photons of information fumbling into the bright box you're staring at now. Broadcasting, the greatest thing since sliced bread. With this technology, you'll be able to watch Shimmy launch a rocket into space 15 seconds shy of live. Shimmy's Space Quest, every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, only on KSPTV.
Hello, my name is Mitoro Ignika, and I do lots of things. As you can see, I do some crazy things, some interesting things, and well, things like this. All according to plan, right? If you want to see more, then you can catch my show every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and 1 a.m. GMT right here on KSP TV.
Join me, Nitch, for Start the Week on KSPTV. Mondays, 3 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. BST, 11 p.m. MSK, and 5 a.m. AET.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another broadcast of Shimmy's Space Quest, where though planning is useless, planning is essential to our cause, which is to quest into space. How's everybody doing today? What is up? What is up? People, different people I'm not familiar with. Ebolo Potato, Foglera, Schnapster, Professor Will Glassen, Daring, B. Wheatley, Teflon Mike, GLP4X, Buckminst. What is up, friends? This is going to be a different kind of show today. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I had planned to get my the new save working yesterday, but I was pretty much incapacitated for most of the day yesterday, and I wasn't even really able to work on getting my old save up to the new version. So I put that off for right now, and I remember that somebody, maybe a few people in the past, had asked me to do tutorials on rendezvous and docking. And, I say that that's probably one of my strengths in playing the game. I think I'm kind of good at that, so I'm going to try and do my best to explain how I do it, and hopefully how you can do it if you want to learn. Potatoes are the elite race of potatoes. The spelling. Alrighty, what is up? Alright, Jingle Jangles. What is up? Hang on a second. This is very important. Alright, I'm getting, updates from my friend who is just about to become a father. Every, 10 minutes, they're like, oh, well, this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening, and all this biological stuff that might make some people kind of you gross babies. But he's sending me all this information. Alright, just tell me when the baby comes out already? Anyway, so sorry if I jingle jangle too loud today, but yeah, so, gonna work on some tutorial for rendezvous and docking. I'm just gonna focus on that. So what do we got to do first? Well, first things first, let's go ahead and make sure that my save didn't mess up. So let's go ahead and pop on over to Lathe. Before last time I streamed, I was on Lathe, and we had a bit of a crash. It was kind of on purpose, but tell him not to send pictures. Even if he did, I wouldn't share. But yeah, we got all this junk on Lathe because we started a new colony. Everybody is here safe on the South Pole Lathe. They're doing their thing. Whatever. Mind giving your KSP challenge, not begging for attention, just wondering, what is this? What is this? I need to go ahead and take a look at this. KSP challenge. What is it gonna go to? Ah, with the jingle jangles. Will you just shut up about your baby? Oh my god. Who is this? Who's sending me a message now? No, somebody replied to all. Now we gotta go ahead. Just shut up with the babies. I'll congratulate it later. Ha! Alright, sorry about that. Duna Rover Challenge. One day a Kerbal is sent, not so, okay. Challenge. Build an unmanned rover with a maximum of 30 parts. Put on top of a rocket flight to Duna orbit. Deploy the rover within of the landing zone. Alright, cool. Everybody check that out. Check that out. A shout out for Duna Rover Challenge. Alrighty, sorry about that. Hello! Monef, Captain GRT, Chronic Fender, Lech, Tarragana, B. Wheatley. All right. What are we saying? What are we doing? We're gonna do a tutorial on rendezvous and docking. If anybody has any questions about what I'm doing, please let me know. This is I'm doing this for you guys, obviously. So if you have any questions about rendezvous and docking, I'll be happy to answer. So the first things first, we need to go ahead and put something into orbit that we're going to dock with. We like to think of docking as kind of like an active and passive sort of thing. Usually the passive object that you're docking to or rendezvousing to is like a space station or another craft. You just put it in an orbit, and then you're going to try and take another craft up there. So say that this taco truck is your space station. You want to just leave it somewhere, and you want to bring the space shuttle up to the taco truck to dock with it. You know, so it's docked. You know, that's not a very accurate representation of spacecraft docking, but hey, it works. Taco truck is the passive vessel. Active vessel is the space shuttle here. So, let's go ahead and put that taco truck somewhere that doesn't roll away. So let's go ahead and launch something that is going to be our passive vessel. The thing is, I use the shuttle as the active. I'm probably going to launch the shuttle as the passive. So let's go ahead and launch a Hercules shuttle here. Use your fingers to show us. Well, no. Taco docking, yep. Let's go and launch a Hercules here. Make a taco station. It wants my shuttlecraft a lot. It'll be out soon. It'll be out soon. Let's go ahead and open this up. Let's go ahead and take this out. And let's go ahead and turn the shuttle into maybe some sort of space station. That's no shuttle, it's a space station. Let's go ahead and take a processing lab and put one of these here. And let's just how heavy is this thing? 3.5? And how heavy is this? This is 1.5. Let's go ahead. Maybe we can take a docking port and maybe even a hitchhiker thinger. Just keep in mind, it can be any sort of, it can be anything that you're trying to dock to. I'm going to use the shuttle here as the passive vessel, and I'll go and build a very simple object as the active. So let's just go ahead and do this. Looking great. Let's go ahead and add a docking port here. Why am I launching the shuttle? Because I'm kind of proud of the shuttle, honestly. So I wanna launch it and show it off. But you know. Let's go ahead and put this here. Alrighty, so this is our space station, sort of. There we go. We got stuff. Let's go ahead and put some struts in there, and we're gonna go ahead and put it in orbit. Alrighty. I forget which mods I'm running. I am barely running any mods right now. Alright, so we got our space station here, or our passive vessel. The thing that we're going to try and dock to, let's go ahead and call this the Hercules Station for now. And let's go ahead and close the cargo bay. And we're going to go ahead and save it. We're going to go and launch it. Clear the launch pad. We're going to have a good time here. Can you get the shuttle file somewhere? Eventually. Eventually. Alright, so... yeah, let's go and launch this thing. You know what? Let's go ahead and take some Kerbals from the chat here. We'll just go ahead and take 4 Kerbals here. So, let's go ahead and quickly, rapid-firely go ahead and choose some winners. Captain GRT, let's go ahead and send you. I'm not even going to ask you if you want to go. I'm just gonna throw you right in there. If I do kill you, this doesn't count. This is a tutorial. There we go. Add. Alrighty, there's another winner. And the winner is Minanthrope. Alrighty, there's another one. Can I create you? Maybe you are somewhere else. I don't know. Wait, Minanthrope. Already exists. Where are you, Minanthrope? You can't. You're already somewhere. We can't take Minanthrope. Alrighty. Let's do another one. Willow! Alrighty. Let's go ahead and pick you. Just really quickly, I'm adding some Kerbals here. Apply. Add. There's another one. Winner. Winner. There we go. Lech 47. Creating a Kerbal here. There we go. Apply. Add. And the last one. Satnam! Alrighty. Awesome. We got 4 Kerbals. You will be our space station people. Space station Kerbals. Alrighty. Got you all in there. Let's go ahead and F5 for safety. And now we'll go ahead and close out crew manifest and launch ya. You know, I'll doing a tutorial on shuttle launches, it's a bit of an issue. I might do that in the future. Actually should ask EJ to do it because he's a lot more knowledgeable about that. But just keep in mind, I'm launching something into orbit, and once I get close to orbit, I'll go ahead and talk about the whole procedure of rendezvous and docking. So let's just go and do this. Launching in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff of the Hercules lift system, taking the Hercules space station into orbit with Captain GRT, Willow, Lech, and some other guy that I can't see on my screen right now because I don't remember, into low Kerbal orbit for orbital rendezvous and docking procedure demonstration. Roll program is complete, and we are making our way up into orbit already. We are 500 meters off the deck, traveling at 60 meters a second already. We have stable ascent, and we are good to go. Okay, so making the ascent. This is you know your standard get into orbit thing. You know, if you have any questions on that, you know, I'd be happy to answer any questions on getting into orbit. I do recommend going over to Das Valdez's channel and watching him when he does his boot camp on Saturdays. But you know, I would say, you know, the one thing I feel I'm good at enough to explain is docking rendezvous because I do it a lot on stream. So you know, if you have any questions on that, feel free to ask. Why did the shuttle have to do a roll program? Why didn't they just build a launch pad so it not have to roll? Well, in real life, that's kind of a bit of a problem. Think about the whole structural thing. They have to build the launch platform in such a way that they can load it onto the launch pad, load the payload in the launch pad, and they had moving parts, but to keep it as simple as possible, have it load load it in a certain way every single time. So, what you say, it's like, okay, well, maybe what if they made it so it wouldn't have to do the rope program as good? That's a great idea, but they probably just didn't want to engineer it. It would be too difficult. The rope program is not that big of a deal. They only do it in the first, 30 seconds of the launch, so they did it. It's, if it's done by a computer, they know it's going to do it accurately. I'm doing it with a keyboard, so it's a little bit more funny. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and make it up into orbit here. The way that my shuttle works is once we get close to the 10K mark, it starts to be really stable, but then after a while it starts to pitch kind of backwards, as you see on screen there, and I have to turn off the center engines to keep it stable. That's just how I engineered mine. If you build a shuttle, you might not need to do that. That's just kind of how mine ended up, so don't take this as the perfect example of how to build a shuttle. Let's see here. This is just about empty, and we can see here the pitch is kind of going down. It's below the center line there, so I'm going to go ahead and use action group 1 to keep that stable again. The final tanks and the boosters are going to empty. The way I have this fueled, though, is the engines will still be firing even after these tanks are empty. Alrighty, we're at half on those tanks here. Alrighty, and when those empty, I'll go ahead and fire the next stage. Fire, those separate. Looks like that was clear, and this thing continues into orbit as planned. So there we go. So basically, what we got to do here, though, is place the space station. And the thing about rendezvous and docking, it's very important that you put your passive vessel or your station in an orbit that is going to be different than the orbit that you are going to launch into next, with your next vessel. So basically, I'm trying to simplify that by saying put your station in a higher orbit than the parking orbit that you normally launch into. So, like, the parking orbit that I normally launch into is about 80 by 80 kilometers. With the station, I'm not going to put this in a low orbit like that. I'm going to put it up in a higher orbit. For example, this station right here, the Arnold station, I have it at an orbit of 200 kilometers. Now I'm going to go ahead and launch this one up a little bit higher. I'm going to launch it up to maybe 240, so it's going to be a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and keep on going. So another important thing is when we get this thing in orbit and we get into our passive orbit or our station orbit, we want to make sure it's as circular as possible. Now I'm going to try and explain how to do that as best as I can, but this is something that will take a lot of practice. It's a bit of an art, because sometimes you need to do it, do a couple things that are kind of inefficient to get it like perfect by burning radial in or radial out, in order to get it nice and circular. And when I say nice and circular, like an apoapsis and periapsis with a difference of less than a kilometer is as good as you want to have it. So, anyway. Aha! Alright, Tabak. Tabak knows. Tabakase knows the secret of the shuttle. Alrighty, how are we doing here? This is kind of pitching a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and set engine 2 to 50% to keep this thing stable. 200 is the orbit I use for stations. Yeah, you know, depends on what you want to do. Different orbits have different advantages. I'm going to use 240 to make the demonstration a little bit easier. Alright, we are ready to separate our external tank here, and then continue with Ohmsburn 1 to bring our apoapsis up to our target orbit. So, let's see here. Alright, separation of the tank. Deactivation of our main engines. Activating of our orbital engines. Let's go ahead and activate our fuel system. I designed it this way so I could get the fuel. If I need to put extra fuel, I could put it in the back here. But anyway. Alright, Ohmsburn 1. We'll go ahead and burn until we have an apoapsis of 240 here. So like you might have learned before, burning prograde is going to be the most efficient here if you're trying to raise your velocity. Alright, 243. Let's just try to pick a number. 243 is going to be the altitude of this station. Let's go ahead and open the cargo bay and reveal our space station and just leave it in there. Alright, so, alright, let's see. What happened? Why am I now on KSPTV? Because I'm a KSPTV streamer. I do stream every Tuesday, and every Tuesday meaning when when it works out for me. I'm sorry, I have missed a few Tuesdays in the past. Yeah. I'm just reading all the my highlights here. Let's go ahead and clear that. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue up to apoapsis. So we're going to go ahead, and the first thing we need to do is get our station into a circular orbit. You know, the easiest thing to do this in, let me go ahead, can I open up a really good diagram here of showing how orbits, how you want to get this orbit to work. Let's see. Paint is open. This is open. No. If we go ahead and open up. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Also, thanks for the follows on my channel. I do appreciate that. And for those of you, if you haven't already, consider following KSPTV. It's a streamer where we have multiple streamers. Do I have paint on this thing? No, I'm just going to have to go ahead and add a window capture, and choose upload, no, 2000, transfer. Here we go. And edit the scene. Try to get this as small as possible. I don't normally share parts of my screen. It's iffy when I do this. But this is kind of the best way to explain a really efficient transfer from a lower orbit into a higher orbit here. You got your parking orbit right here, and then you want to go ahead and do a burn somewhere in the orbit to bring your apoapsis to the altitude of the higher orbit, and then once you get there, you do another burn to make it circular. This is a Hohmann transfer right here. Hopefully that explains part of it. And that's kind of what I'm doing right here, but I kind of went right into it. Instead of going immediately and keeping in a parking orbit, I just went straight for it. Anyway, so let's go ahead and go back to the game here. We are waiting for the apoapsis. So we're going to keep on time warping here. And as we get close, you know, we can create a maneuver node to kind of help us estimate how this is going to work. You know, maneuver nodes are great. I tend to fly and do a lot of things without maneuver nodes, but maneuver nodes definitely help. So as you can see there, I created a maneuver right at the apoapsis, and I'm kind of shifting around there because if you haven't already realized, you can shift a maneuver node by clicking in the center and then moving it around. So this changes the timing of the maneuver. And the timing of the maneuver is actually just as important as the maneuver variables itself. So if we go ahead and burn this like this, this is going to get us into an orbit that's almost perfectly circular. 243 by 243. Alrighty. But that's assuming, the maneuvers assume that you do that burn instantly. Rockets don't work like that. You have to, it takes a period of time to do the burn. It says right here it's going to take 1 minute and 34 seconds. I don't think it actually is going to take that. So we're going to go ahead and point towards maneuver marker here. So I like to use NavHUD. You don't have to use NavHUD. A lot of people don't like the idea of moving the entire screen around. They'd rather look at the nav ball instead. So I like it because it's a little bit more accurate, but it's the same thing as I'm controlling the screen like I'm controlling the nav ball. I'm just trying to get this right on the dot there. Now, it says I have the burn in about 90 seconds. No, sorry, in about 60 seconds here. And it says it's going to take about 90 seconds to burn. Sometimes Kerbal estimates your burn times by the last time you had your engines running, or the maximum thrust that you've had your engines running. So it might estimate, because I had it kind of at a low velocity. Hello, John Casual. So in order to get that fixed, let's go ahead and give it a little love tap here for a few seconds, and then let go. It's going to readjust, and it's going to say the estimated burn is 19 seconds. You're going to want to cut that in half, so half of 19 is roughly 10 or 9.5. You're going to want to go and start your burn when it says T minus 10 or 9.5. Obviously, there's no 9.5, so we're just going to go ahead and do it at 10. I'm going to try and keep this thing as stable as possible, right on that marker. Alrighty, so I'm using the autopilot here, but now I'm close, but I'm no cigar. I'm off by a kilometer. Actually, this would be fine in most situations, but we're going to go ahead and figure out how to get this as circular as possible. So we are currently at 243, and our periapsis is at 242. We're still pretty much near our apoapsis, so if we just go ahead and burn prograde, we could probably get this even closer than it already is. Now we can do one of two things. We can just kind of wait till apoapsis and do the burn, or we can bring our apoapsis to us by affecting our upwards velocity, because your velocity around the planet has like 2 or 3 velocity vectors. You have the sideways velocity, you have the up and down velocity, and you have the plane velocity. But if you kind of ignore the plane velocity, you have the upward velocity and the side-to-side velocity. So as we can see here using Kerbal Engineer, our vertical speed is going up at about 50 and dropping, because we're going to get to the apex, or the apogee, or the apoapsis of our orbit. We can actually undo that by burning downwards if we wanted to, but let's just go ahead and just wait till apoapsis here. 30, and it's going to be going down here. You could fly casual too, you know. I don't know. Fly casual. Keep your distance. Just don't look like you're keeping your distance. Alright, so I'm at apoapsis, or I was at apoapsis, so I decided to do a slight burn. Now, I kind of overdid it. Now I'm at the low point of the orbit. As we can see here, the periapsis is 243 and 6 meters, and now the high point is 200 meters. You know, I'm getting really anal about this, but I'm just going to show you that you can get this nice and circular. So now I'm using the H and N keys on my keyboard to adjust my forward and backward velocity by kind of doing a retro burn here, and we can see that this is an offset of 40 meters, which is great. This is actually too accurate Oh no, wait. Yeah, this is too accurate. It doesn't need to be this much this accurate, but you know, I'm just trying to prove a point here. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and orient this thing so it's a little bit easier to dock with. So we can do one of two things. We can point it at the sun, so it's always in the sunlight, or we can point it like north or south, so we know that we are always pointing north or south. I think I'm just going to go ahead and point at the sun, because I like to be able to see what I'm docking with. So this is the docking port that we're going to be docking with, and we're going to go ahead and call it a day here. Let's go and turn off our RCS. So we have our space station here. Let's go ahead and rename this thing. Rename vessel, set as a space station, Hercules station. Well, bam, there we go. This is our space station, what we'll be docking with at an orbit of 243 kilometers in altitude. Orbital inclination of almost a third of a degree, and that's fine. Alrighty, so we have the station in a circular orbit. Circular orbits are really important to make this easy. You don't have to have circular orbits, but if you want to be able to do this with ease, try to put things in circular orbits. That's kind of the convenience of doing that. So, any questions about that, let me know. Just make sure you say, shimmy, tell me this. Or you can say, tacos, tell me this. And I can answer your question. So we got the shuttle here, space station, whatever. This thing did use part clipping, right? Well, part clipping is kind of a thing that is allowed in the game now. As we can see, we've got a little clipping here. I try not to overdo it though, to make it look like completely unrealistic. Like the engines here, I don't have any fuel in this thing, so I feel perfectly fine with insetting the engines like that, because I just kind of call this a structural piece. These fuel tanks are inset in the wings. These structural panels, they're structural. I say they can clip all they want. And the only thing that's kind of like, kind of cheaty is I added a lifting surface on the inside of this cockpit in order to keep everything stable. Alrighty. So, looks like I don't have any questions yet. Then again, anybody who has any questions, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. How much Delta V does the shuttle have? Too much, honestly. Too much. Can you explain how I can get your PE about a meter above my AP whenever I try my PE runs that I end up being on a periapsis? Explain how I can get my PE about a meter above my AP. A meter? That's don't even a meter. If you're worrying about a meter, don't worry about a meter. A kilometer is fine. A kilometer away is fine. How do you use maneuvers to get a perfect circular orbit? The thing is perfect circular orbit with maneuvers might not be the most accurate thing. It's kind of the better thing to get it close using a maneuver and fine-tuning it with some RCS adjustment. Yeah. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and build another vessel here. That is going to be our docking vessel. The vessel is going to go ahead and dock and rendezvous and dock with the station. So we're going to go ahead and create a new one right from scratch. More of a classic Kerbal Space Program vessel. So we're going to go ahead and use the Mark II command pod. We're going to use a docking port like normal. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right, Minanthrope. I didn't catch that. Let's go ahead and take a stack separator here, get some fuel. We're going to put plenty of fuel on this thing. Take one of these. And get an engine. Put an engine on the bottom, a really simple engine. Put some solar panels on it. So let's say we get the solar panels. like this. Alrighty. And we can get really anal about it and bring those in. Oh, what have I done? F to adjust that. There we go. Let's see. Hold shift. Oh, that's even worse. I'll just leave it the way it is. Let's get some batteries. Batteries are always good. Need batteries in order to keep things charged while it's at night. So, say if we go ahead and put the batteries, so say right here. Let's go ahead and rotate them outward or something. Or inward. Sorry about the stuffy nose. I might need to go blow my nose in a second. And some monopropellant. There we go. And what are we forgetting? What are we forgetting? Tell me what we're forgetting. I know what we're forgetting, but tell me what we're forgetting. On stage, lights, solar panels. We got solar thruster blocks, kind of like thruster blocks. RCS ports, yes, thruster blocks, and they are blocks that trust things. But yes, thruster blocks. Also chutes if we want to come back. We probably do. Let's go ahead and turn on our center of mass. Let's try to get this thing as close to the center of mass as possible. I like to put them right on the decoupler like that. Well, bam. Also, let's go ahead and give it some chutes. 3 is fine. Let's go and put them about right there. And let's go and bring them about right there. Oh, and let's go ahead and clip them right in because we cheaty like that. Look at that. Ooh, it looks so beautiful. Alright, let's go and bring it out. Let's go and bring it in. Oh, it looks so beautimous. It's covering up the flag, though. That doesn't look good. Oh, well. The GACA flag is covered up. I guess we'll go ahead and turn that off. Toggle flag. We don't need to worry about that. Turn this off. Alrighty, so we got a good orbital vessel that can go up and then come back. The thruster blocks are very important in order for maneuvering for docking. Without these, you're going to have a bad time. So, now we need to go ahead and put this into orbit, so we need to design a launch stage. You know, we might want to go ahead and make this kind of, you know, fashion-y. Like this. Let's go ahead and get this. That should work. And let's go ahead and put our stage underneath it. Something like this. What is this? Does that look good? Let's go ahead and stage this stuff right in the right order. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think we'll stick with a skipper. Let's go and make this prettier. And put some structural panels on this because I really like that. Let's go and activate this. Kind of like an interstage fairing. So you don't need to do this. You absolutely do not need to do that. I do it because it looks cool. But because of that, I'm going to need to adjust the way that these are placed. So let's go ahead and click this and bring those around, bring those in just a tad. We don't want them clipping in. Actually, no, let's go ahead and adjust it like so. Alrighty. There we go. So this is our upper stage. Let's go ahead and do our lower stage. And add something there. We're going to go ahead and take a orange tank and another one of these tanks and another engine. That's plenty in order to get in orbit here. We need struts, though. We need struts. Let's go back into here. Let's go and add our struts. Oh, we don't need 8 of them. We just only need 4 of them. Let's go ahead and attach that one to there. And that one to there. Well, bam. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and save this as something. I'm going to be back in just a moment, and we can answer any questions about this design. I need to blow my nose, though. It gets stuffy. It's just that time of the year where noses are stuffy. I'll be back in a second. Okie dokie. We are back. What do we got here? Should... What do I make a Soyuz? Okay. I think the question about maneuvers to circularize was more about where and when to burn to circularize an orbit, perhaps not specifically about the kind of engines to use. Shimon, why don't you ever upload your ships to Curse or whatever? Most of the time I'm using mod stuff. I mean, in the past, like, month I haven't. So maybe, I don't know. Probably. How do you use those no controls next to the parts? Besides the fun aspect, it's a really advantage of building a shuttle versus an SSTO plane, considering how small Kerbal is. It's just a fun factor, Steven. Whenever I try to docking 2 orbits are oblong and I can't dock with help plots. Circular orbits are very important. I'll go ahead and demonstrate this a little bit better with this next vessel. Anyway, what are we gonna name this thing? Let's name it the Taco Explorer. We'll name it Tacos at Midnight. Tacos at Midnight. I don't know why, because I had tacos at midnight last night. So that's what I felt like. Okay, so let's go ahead and launch this thing. This thing is actually rather balanced here. Let's go to make sure those are active. I got a great thrust to weight. What, this thing go away? I got a great thrust to weight, which is 1.64. An upper stage thrust to weight is a little bit too high. I'm going to go ahead and tone that down to 1.3. That's as much as I need it. And the upper stage, or the orbital stage, is just going to be the way it is. Also, thanks for the follows on my channel. I do appreciate that. And if you haven't already, consider following KSPTV. Okay, so, I can never get to my space station when you try to dock. I'm going to go over that right now. So, let's go ahead and launch this thing. Launch. There we go. Alright, so we got Bill, Bob, and Richfell. Let's go ahead and get some other Kerbals here. This is a tutorial, so we're going to go ahead and choose some others. Winner! The winner is Coffee! Alrighty, Coffee. Let's go ahead and get you in here. Create a Kerbal. Coffee is the, Mission Commander. The winner is Satnam. Didn't we already choose you? Yeah, we did. We can't do Satnam. Winner. I don't die, lol. Alrighty. I don't die, lol. Let's go ahead and add you in here. I don't die, lol. Apply. Hopefully you won't die here. Add. And the next winner, the last winner is Glassy Marduk. Okay. Go Come on, Glassy, Marduk, copy that, create a Kerbal. Ba-ba-ba. Let's go ahead and get your names in here. Apply, and added. There we go. Let's go ahead and F5 for safety. So now, alrighty, so we are in our vessel. We need to dock with our target space station. First thing we're going to want to do is set the space station as the target. So we know where it is, we can go ahead and keep our eye on it. Now, we're going to need to launch at an appropriate time. Right now is not an appropriate time. It is completely on the opposite side of the planet. When we go into orbit, it's going to take a while for all the orbits to phase up in order to get into orbit. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and time warp a little bit and wait for the station to come around here. And, you know, you could launch, like, at this perfect time. I try not to be, like, super perfect with it. I just try to make sure that my target is ahead of me by a little bit. This is fine. This is great. Right over sometimes is good. This is fine. It's going to require maybe a couple orbits for everything to get nice and aligned, but it's a perfect amount of time for me to explain the thing that we need to do. So ahead, right here, is looking good. Opposite side of the planet, not so good. Alright, let's go ahead and go back to launch site. We're going to go ahead and throttle up. SAS for stabilization. I don't have a launch escape system here. Just hopefully you won't die. Launching in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Alrighty, Bill the Potato. Keep in mind that on my YouTube channel, I will have a recording of this broadcast in the future. So if you want to go on over to my YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button, feel free. Most of the time, all I do is post stream recordings on my YouTube channel. So if you're expecting other things like Let's Plays and whatnot, haven't been doing that for a while. You know, that can always change, but right now it's pretty much been a repo for stream recordings. Anyway. Tacos, how do you make the Kerbals? It's a mod called Crew Manifest. Alrighty, so we're looking good. We are almost at 10K. Like everybody is usually taught, at 10K you start pitching over towards the horizon. DOS would say immediately go to 90. I kind of gradually go over to 90. It just feels more natural that way. I just don't like that. I kind of just gradually get it over to 90 here. But how you get in orbit, as long as you can reliably get in orbit, that's the important thing. So we're going to continue on pitching over here. Just going to switch it into orbit mode. First stage is done. Second stage is activated. DOS says go straight to 90, not 45. Well, this is 45 degrees. It's the 90. The marker is 90, but it is 45 degrees. Navball is kind of confusing because you have to remember that if horizon is 0, then right here is 45 degrees, and then straight up is 90 degrees. But you have multiple different directions, so you have your pitch and your yaw, and you have your roll. So I'm sorry if that is confusing. So yes, you want to point at the 90, but that's actually 45 degrees in pitch. I'm being a little pedantic there. I'm sorry about that. Please try and not tear me apart about that, because I'm just trying to get into orbit here. The important part is that we get into orbit. This is not really an orbit tutorial. This is a docking, rendezvous and docking tutorial, so just keep that in mind. So, now, as we're getting to orbit, we want to go ahead and put our vessel into a parking orbit. a parking orbit that is circular and coplanar with our target. I tend to put my parking orbits at 80 kilometers. Yes, exactly. Das Valdez is teaching a launch profile that is easy for new players to remember and execute. Exactly. If you want to know about launch profiles, go and watch Das. That's not what this tutorial is about. It's not about launch profiles. This is about docking and rendezvous. Hello, Das Valdez. How's it going? Alrighty. So, what I'm saying now is we are going to go ahead and put ourselves into a parking orbit at 80 kilometers. What is a parking orbit? A parking orbit is just a place that you put your vessel for a while you wait for everything to line up, and then you do something. So if we go ahead and take a look at this diagram again, this is the standard Hohmann transfer. This green orbit right here is what we would call a parking orbit. The yellow orbit right here is what we'd call a transfer orbit, and the red orbit right here is what we would call a final orbit. So that's what I'm talking about. Parking orbit, transfer orbit, final orbit. Anyway, so now we're just going to go ahead and coast up to 80 kilometers here. We are just kind of waiting for our coasting here. Is the beard treating me well? Also, I'm kind of messed up. Why did I do that? Alright. I was like, what is going on with my screen? Alright, so we are in space now, because we're above 70. Let's go ahead and make things simple. We'll go ahead and separate our vessel. There's still fuel in that, but we're not going to worry about that anymore. We're going to extend our panels and basically play using this vessel from here on out for the docking and rendezvous tutorial. There are two screens, Taco. Alright. So, again, we need to make sure our orbit is circular. Our apoapsis is at 80. We can go ahead and create a maneuver here at the apoapsis and try to get it as circular as possible. Keep in mind that sometimes a maneuver, once you're done with the maneuver, it's not perfect. This is going to take practice on getting things nice and circular. But keep in mind, a kilometer off, like 80 by 79 or 80 by 81, not a problem. You'll be fine. Just try to get it within a kilometer, and you'll be great. You won't have many problems. So I've created a maneuver here that's going to get us into an orbit about 80 by 80 here. We're going to now go ahead and point towards our maneuver. We can either use the nav HUD, we can use this, or we can use the maneuver option if you have that enabled in your career or sandbox. Go ahead and click on it. We are now pointing at the maneuver. It says the estimated burn will be 17 seconds. Like before, sometimes this is not the most accurate thing, so if we go ahead and give it just a tiny little love tap, let's make sure our engine is activated, a tiny little love tap, it'll actually get that as accurate as possible. Estimated burn is 30 seconds, so we want to cut that in half. We want to go ahead and do our burn at T-minus 15 seconds. This is not, keep in mind, this is the easiest way to remember. It is not the most accurate, but it is the easiest way to remember. Alright, 15, activated, Z for full-on power-up, and it will just go ahead and follow the orbit right there. Alrighty, we can see here that our orbit is looking great. Alrighty, we are off by 0.6 meters a second, but if we go and look at our parking orbit right now, the orbit is 79.9, apoapsis 79.3 periapsis. That is pretty darn close. That is pretty darn close. And if we go and take a look at the map, we're really close to apoapsis, so if we want to go ahead and get that even closer, we can go ahead and just kind of point prograde here and give it a little touch with either the engine or the RCS. The RCS is going to be a little fine-tuned. Activate RCS hitting R and using the H and N keys to kind of bring us even more. So you see the thrusters fire like that, and we can see that the periapsis right here is adjusting slightly. We're off by 100. This is really darn close. This is closer than you really need to worry about it. If I'm playing, I like to keep it within a kilometer. This is within 200 meters. That's 2 football fields, 2 American football fields. So yeah, alrighty. So we are in orbit. Our target is here. Our vessel that we're trying to dock with our target is here. Now, if you remember, by going to our diagram, the Hohmann transfer here, we need to basically do some sort of burn that brings us up to the target orbit that's up here. The important thing, though, is when we do this, we need to make sure our target is here. Can you see my mouse? Yes, you can. Alright, yeah. So, burn here, we need to go up here. When we get there, our target needs to be there. So we go, say, and go and add a maneuver, like right now. And we create a maneuver. We want to go ahead and pull this thing up till it gets so it touches the orbit, and you'll see the little pink markers. And you see those pink markers will appear. And what you want to do is just kind of get this thing so it's right on the edge of either being one or two sets of markers. Once you've done that, you can maneuver this thing around to get it into orbit here. Now, as we can see, I've actually made a boo-boo. I actually launched at the incorrect time, because I would not want to launch now to orbit, so I actually launched a little bit too early. So this actually gives me time to worry about something else. Our orbital plane inclination. Ah, wait a second. I messed up my thing again. My screen is messed up. Alrighty. So yeah, as we can see here, the orbit, I'm actually a little bit too early. It needs to be, I should have launched a little bit later. So we're going to have some time to work on our orbital inclination. So let's not worry about that immediately. There's another thing that we need to worry about. If we go and take a look at this, our ascending and descending node, if we go and mouse right over, it says that we are 1/5 of a degree off, or 0.2 degrees off of our plane. What does that mean? Let's go and pull up another diagram here. This is a diagram of the orbital elements. A little bit confusing here, but if you imagine how you have 2 orbits, say we have our target orbit or our target orbit is here, and we are here, the inclination is this little marker right there. The orbits are not aligned, so they're kind of wonky like that. Whenever you want to do a rendezvous, it's the best to have them aligned as close as possible. So you want them to be coplanar. This is a very exaggerated version of what we have right now, but it shows what inclination is. The orbits are not aligned. So we'll go ahead and close that out. So we're going to need to go and fix that. How you can fix that is by doing a burn at the either ascending or descending node here. So we're actually going to wait till we get to the ascending node and do a burn. How do we fix it at those burns? We need to either burn north or south relative to our orbit, or what we like to say, the angry triangle or the happy triangle, or what I like to say is either due north or anti-north. That's how I remember. In order to align properly, if you want to get things aligned properly, if you are going to the descending node, then I point my ship due north. If I'm going to the ascending node, then I point my ship anti-north. That's how I remember AN, anti-north, DN, due north. So I just imagine clicking on this thing, add maneuver, and since it's AN, anti-north, I kind of pull this thing down southward. And try to get this so the markers are as low as possible. Not a number is really, really low. It's so low that the game doesn't even know how to calculate it. Okay, so we went ahead and planned for that. So now we need to go ahead and point at the angry triangle, which is anti-north, can be angry, anti and angry. Why is it angry? Because it's kind of got like the little, it's got the pointy outies. The pointy outies. Or we can just go ahead and point at our maneuver. And so now we just need to wait till we get there, and we'll go ahead and do the burn. So the burn should take no time. It's just 1 second. We'll just be a little ginger with that. Why is this going crazy? Let me turn that off. Wasting my RCS propellant there. I don't know why it's doing that. It's wiggling and waggling. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, we got 40 seconds to go. Let's go ahead and time warp just a tad bit more. And let's go ahead and do the burn. Done. That is pretty darn close. If we go ahead and take a look at the map, we got rid of the maneuver. Our relative inclination is not a number. It's really darn low. So here's the problem. Now we are ahead of the station. That is no problem. In order to make this a little bit easier, I created kind of a disparaging difference between our parking orbit and our target orbit. So this thing will phase a little bit faster. So if we go ahead and time warp here, we will see that this thing actually changes position relative to the planet significantly quicker than if the orbits were a lot closer to each other. So it's changing in degrees, every minute it's several degrees here. Is RCS using fuel? RCS is using monopropellant. So when we get this thing a little bit on the other side, when it starts catching up with it, we're going to go ahead and plan and do our Hohmann transfer. This does take a few minutes. I could switch up to switch up to the station and make it go faster, but this shouldn't take too long. It's going to take a minute or two. Yes, monopropellant is a type of fuel. That is correct. Okay, so we're definitely on the same side of the planet now. As we get closer, we will prepare to transfer up to the station. But now, let's go ahead and plan for our Hohmann transfer. Again, what is a Hohmann transfer? This is a good example of a Hohmann transfer. Our vessel is in a parking orbit, the green. Our target is in is in the final orbit in the red here. We will need to transfer using an orbit that kind of is represented by the yellow right here. It starts at the low one, gets as tall as the high one here. We'll go ahead and circularize, and we should be there. So anyway, that's what a Hohmann transfer is again. So we'll go ahead and create a maneuver, add a maneuver, pull on the prograde in order to bring it up, and again, like I was mentioning, we want to get that marker, that pink marker, to appear either as one set of markers or two, just right on the edge there. See, right now it's kind of 1.5 really, but we want to get it so it's just slightly two, but not really. Just get it as close as possible. It makes things a little bit easier. Thanks for the follows on my channel. I do appreciate that. If you haven't already, consider following KSPTV. Alrighty, so now, as we can see, if we were to transfer up right now, we get here, and it says that is our intersect, but down here is the target position it intersects. So we're actually doing the burn a little bit too early. So now we need to adjust the time of the burn. How do you do that? We go to our maneuver, click on the very center, the center circle will turn white, and we can drag the entire thing around. So we can do that like that. So by doing this, we can see that our intercept and our target position at intercept is getting closer. So we go ahead and click here, we keep on dragging it, keep on dragging it. You can see now that they're getting closer and closer. Keep on dragging it, and as we get closer and closer, we can see now we're almost there. At this point, we just kind of need to eyeball it, because we don't really have anything that tells us, like, up on the screen, like, what it is. So we need to kind of, like, eyeball it and then guess and check. So that looks really darn close. Let's go ahead and adjust it there. You can choose either to intercept at the orange or the magenta one, or if it's even just one marker, just like that, or the orange magenta one, where it's combined. The closer they are together, the less radial velocity that you will have to deal with when you intercept. If you're doing something like this, you have an issue, because when you get to that orbit, you have not only the horizontal velocity difference that you have to worry about, also the vertical velocity difference you have to worry about. The important thing about a Hohmann transfer is if you get there right at your apoapsis, the only difference in velocity is your horizontal velocity, and you're not worrying about radial velocity. So that's why you want to get this as close as possible. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get that as close as possible. I'm being a little anal about this. I just kind of get it, oh, that's good enough, and I just go. But I'm just trying to show good practices here. So I've eyeballed it, and we can see right now, it says our separation is 0.2 kilometers, or 200 meters. You know, 2 American football fields. That is really close. I picked to use the orange one as our intercept instead of the pink one. It really doesn't matter which one you choose, just as long as you choose one. If they are the orange-pink one, the basically combined one, then it doesn't really matter. Keep in mind, when it's just this one, that means you're actually coming slightly under it. So sometimes you end up with distances that are a little bit farther than if you slightly intersect. But you don't want it to be too far apart, then you have the whole radial and horizontal issue. So right here, that's a whole kilometer. I'm just adjusting by clicking on it, getting it as close as... Oh! I clicked on the thing. Let's go ahead and pull on the maneuver donger here. Yes, I'm fiddling with it a little bit too much, but I'm just trying to show you how this works. That's 0.8, and you can see when it's like this, sometimes you can't get it too close. So that's why I get it just so they're slightly separated, and you get it a little bit closer. Let's go for the orange one. That's 100 meters, 1 football field. We are good to go. So we've went ahead and set up our transfer maneuver up to the station. We're now going to go ahead and point at the maneuver node marker, either in the sky or in the nav ball here, and we prepare for burn. When I rendezvous, I don't use maneuver nodes. I wait the target speed to get to the same needed as change orbit to target. What does that even mean? Saying everything twice. I'm just trying to explain it as best as possible. "200 meters is 2 American football fields?" Yeah. I mean, that's an overgeneralization. A yard is roughly a meter, and an American football field is 100 yards. I'm overgeneralizing. Meters are not equal to yards, but they're close. Can I toggle the sky markers on and off? Yeah, this is NavHUD. I like to use it. You don't have to use it. I like to use it. Keep in mind that you can do this using either the autopilot or the nav ball also. I like nav HUD because it shows me how close I am to things. Yeah, 1 meter is equal to 1.09361 yards. There you go. Okay, track boy. Plus 20 yards at the end. Well, yeah. All right, so we've already set up our maneuver, and if we go and just double check, we are still on course. You like the? Oh, I like the metric system too, but a football field is kind of a very understandable thing, so I use that. Can you approach using RCS? Absolutely. Let me go ahead and get to that though after we go ahead and do this maneuver here. So, estimated burn, 38 seconds. If we go ahead and recalculate that, it is 25 seconds. So half of 25 is about 12 and a half. So at about 12 seconds, we'll go full throttle and do most of the burn immediately. How do you connect docking ports? I'll go ahead and show you. You connect them like on the vessel, like this. That's basically the... Oh, dang it! I'm late. Trying to answer your question, and I'm late for the burn. I did this actually a little bit too late. I did it 12 and a half seconds too late. So this might be slightly inaccurate. So we're going to need to adjust for our mistake. So we've done our maneuver, but it's been off in time, so if we go ahead and point prograde here, let's go ahead and rotate around. Just kind of like that. If we go ahead and take a look at our rendezvous, we're actually off now by 2.8 kilometers. That's unfortunate, so we're going to need to go ahead and adjust for that. Since I was late in the burn, the intercept is not close enough. 2.9. In regular Kerbal, that's a little bit far, so we're going to go ahead and adjust that by adding some velocity using our RCS system. I activated RCS, and I'm just going to start randomly hitting the RCS, you know, IJKLHN keys to see if I can get this closer. So say if I hit this, that makes it a little bit farther away, so I hit H, N, makes it a little bit closer. Alrighty. That's 0.8. Maybe if we add some radial by going up and down. Let's actually set this stability assist here. Alright. 0.9. That is not good enough. Well, let's go ahead and switch to fine-tune control. I'm using the RCS to get this as close as possible. I was going to go for the orange one. Now I'm going to go for the purple one. So actually I'm going to go ahead and approach on the purple one. Now I'm back to 100 meters. So there we go. I just used RCS and just kind of randomly hit them in order to get them closer. That takes a little practice, but you can do that. RCS system, reaction control system. No, it's the reaction RCS system. The reaction control RCS system. Alright, so now that we've had our trajectory fixed by using a little RCS, we're going to go ahead and coast on up here. And we're going to be approaching our station. Now it's at 300 meters. I think that's just kind of, sometimes the way things adjust, they get slightly off sometimes. That's fine. As long as within a kilometer, you're pretty darn good. And we can go ahead and adjust for that as we approach. If we go ahead and switch over to target mode here, it shows our relative velocity to the target. We can do one of two things. We can do a maneuver node here and plan to circularize, but the maneuver node isn't the most accurate because it only shows that it only really works at apoapsis, and we're actually not circularizing at apoapsis. We're circularizing after apoapsis. So doing the maneuver node might not be the best thing here, because sometimes when you have various radial and horizontal velocities, you need to adjust for that, and it's hard to do. So the best thing to do now is just to point retrograde when you are relative to the target, and then prepare for the burn. Now you can kind of estimate how long this will take, but it's good to just basically, once you get here, you're going to want to reduce the amount of orbital velocity, so while you get close, you're going to want to not do what I just did here. You're going to want to do that earlier. Estimating that is kind of important. That was kind of a poor example of that. I'm going to have to go over it again later, but I am using the retro marker and burning till my target velocity is as low as possible. So now I've roughly rendezvoused here. We're about more than half a kilometer away, but we're close. We're close. We're close enough to say that we are rendezvoused, but we are not close enough for docking. So now what we need to do is actually approach the vessel. So since we are within a kilometer, the easiest thing to do is just kind of point at it and just burn a little bit, and you will see that your relative velocity vector is going to point at it, and that's going to show you where you are traveling to your target relative to your target. So I'm just trying to get this to go in that direction. Don't go too fast. As you can see, I'm just kind of just gingerly pressing the throttle here to get this thing close. But I'm only relative 5 meters a second. Under a kilometer, you want to keep it under 10 meters a second if you have already stopped. Definitely keep it under 20 meters a second because you might not be able to stop. So I'm just trying to get this thing to point in the direction of the target. And we know that we're pointing in the right direction because the vector of our velocity and the target are almost on top of each other. That means we're going in the same direction of where our target is. So once we get about 100 kilometers away, 100 meters away, we're going to want to slow down and prepare for docking. Hey, Hyper. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and slow down now. Let's go ahead and turn off fine-tune control and drop this as low as possible. Let's actually go ahead and turn around here. I'm pointing at the retro marker to drop my relative velocity to 0. Alrighty. We are 50 meters away from our station. We're kind of already lined up, so I'm going to go and make things a little bit interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate this thing in a weird direction, so it's not as easy to dock with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and point this right here. And say, okay, say our target is right there, or sorry, our vessel's right here, our target is right here. Let's go ahead and switch on back. I'm using the bracket keys to switch between vessels, by the way. Just the regular bracket, not the angle brackets, the big, scary brackets. But not the swirly, silly brackets. Just the angry brackets. Alrighty, so now, In order to dock to something, we need to get this docking port right here to kiss this docking port right here. So generally that means that our vessel needs to be kind of in this direction right here. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we kind of got to imagine a corridor that extends out from the target docking port. Just kind of, it extends out in this direction. And we want to get our vessel in that position there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and point my vessel in that sort of direction, in that area, and just kind of get it in that general area. We get it in the docking corridor. Let's go ahead and rotate it around here so it's easier to control. So if we go ahead and revisualize, the docking corridor is extending out from the vessel in this direction. So this is going to require you to, this is not something, if you have just started playing Kerbal Space Program, it might take a while to kind of visualize what you're trying to do, because you're trying to visualize things that aren't there in like empty space. And you don't normally get this. And basically you're like, oh, I don't know where I'm going. Well, using the nav HUD definitely helps you visualize where you're heading using this velocity vector. So that's what I use. So as we can see, we're kind of heading off in this direction. If we want to go ahead and point it up a little bit more. Now we're going to want to stop our relative velocity, so we're going to want to point at the retro vector relative to our target here in just a moment. We're getting really close. We're almost in that docking corridor. So we're just going to go ahead and stop right now by pointing at the retro vector and get our target velocity down to relatively 0. Of course, I'm doing this with finesse that I've gotten by playing the game consistently for years. This is something that's going to take a little practice, so if you can't do it as well as me right from the get-go, don't despair. It just takes practice. Which is retrograde vector again? The one that has an X in it. The one that has an X in it. Uh-oh, am I potatoing? Holy frame drop. Sorry about that. Looks like my internet had a derp. So, alright, so somebody was just asking, which one is the retro vector? It is the one that has an X in it. It's the one that has the X in it. Hopefully you'll see that. Alrighty, so we're still kind of drifting, so we're going to try and drop that down as low as possible. We are really close to 0. Jeez, what is going on? Twitch is twitching out. Working okay? Failed to load video? Reloaded? Looks like it's just Twitch. Looks like it's just Twitch. Alright, we're just gonna wait here. We're just gonna wait here, see if this comes back. Hopefully we're not having issues, because I'm not having an issue here. I could try and reload the stream. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and try and stop the stream and restart it. How are we? How are we? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Looks good to me. Alright, sorry about that. So, alright, so we're talking about the docking corridor. If we go ahead and imagine kind of a corridor that just kind of extends from our target here. Can I enable something here? Alright, guys, I need to turn Skype off for a second. If we go ahead and add a window capture, and if it's a thing of paint, use color key white, and then edit scene. Hang on, I'm trying to set up something here. Properties. Go ahead on the entire window, inner window. Let's do a sub-region. Select region. Up here. And then let's say size of 1280 by 720. Actually, let's do 1600 by 900. Alrighty. Position size, fit to screen. I'm trying to John Madden it up right here. Bear with me.
Broadcasting.
Again, thanks for the follows on my channel. Do appreciate that. Alright, so if we go ahead and imagine a docking corridor that kind of extends from this kind of docking port right here. That's not very good, you know, just kind of this docking corridor in this direction right here. We got to make sure our vessel is kind of like in that area so we can dock. That's basically part right now. So we're just trying to get our vessel in that general area in order to get this to work. So, anyway, let's go ahead and close this out and put ourselves in that. So, let's go ahead and get ourselves in that area. It's a good idea to get ourselves in that area. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it helps. It helps. So let's go ahead and push ourselves in this area again. So we kind of point ourselves in one direction, we retrovector in the other direction to stop. So let's go ahead and point just like this. Alright. We are pretty darn close to where we need to be. So now, what we need to do, we need to go ahead and set our target. We could set this as the target, but what we really need to do is set the docking port as the target. Now, the easiest thing to do if you didn't have nav HUD is just to point directly at your target here and just thrust towards it. But we want to be a little bit more accurate than that. We want to be pointing in the same direction as our docking port. So we actually want to go ahead and point our attitude or pointer at this X right here, not at our target, at the X. And this is where nav HUD becomes really useful. So now that we've done that, I like to go ahead and generally set ourselves into chase mode, so we know that we're always rotating in the right position here, and we can control it and see how close we are. Now we're kind of drifting out of the docking corridor again, so I'm going to go ahead and try and get myself in that direction. I'm going to use the IJKL keys on my keyboard. I'm going to use the L key to kind of push myself back in this position. And I'm going to be mindful of my relative velocity here. I'm just going to go ahead and slow down a bit. And this is going to take a little eyeballing here, but we are really close. We're really close. We're a little bit below. We want to be a little bit higher. So we're going to go ahead and bring ourselves up. And just so long as we're close, it's a great thing. Now, what we're going to need to do is basically approach it. Now, if we go and take a look at our relative velocity vector here, if we get this yellow-green circle, green-yellow circle, it's getting more to lime green, over our target vector here, that means that we're actually going to be going in the same direction that we are going to hit our target, and that's what we want. Let's go ahead and switch this over here. Let's go and bring this back up. Anything wrong with my internet? No. Okay. So now, we go ahead and start pushing forward. We can see where our velocity is. Now we want to go ahead and use the adjustment to get basically the purple marker perfectly in front of us. And once we've done that, we want to have the velocity vector going straight ahead of us. And then we can just go ahead and dock. And we can see we are really close, and then we will dock. Okay, so that was really easy. That was pretty easy. Let's go and undock and try it again, because I kind of really put myself really close there. Let's go and do it if it's a little bit farther away. So let's go ahead and undock and try that again. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and back up significantly. Say like 50 meters. And kind of get ourselves in a weird position. Alright, so we've done the thing where we've pretty much, we've rendezvoused, we're less than 100 meters out, but now we need to go ahead and dock with the station again. So the first thing, we are pretty close to this docking corridor. It's kind of a cone that extends outwards. If you're not even close to being in that cone, then that's going to be an issue. So you're going to want to kind of get in front of the target. So we are, the cone is kind of like this cone that just kind of extends outwards. So if we go ahead and imagine it using the John Madden vision here, let's go ahead and Control A and do, and can we Control Z? All right, can we use a brush here? Use a brush. Let's go ahead and turn on the John Madden vision here. Just kind of a cone that extends outwards like this. I like to imagine it, I call it the docking corridor. As long as you're in that area, you're good. If you're somewhere out here, that's no good. If you're down here, that's no good. If you're out here, if you're not even on the screen, it's bad. We want to be in here, which is golden. Put a little check mark and a happy face, right? Little happy face. There we go. Let's go ahead and turn on John Madden Vision. How do I... Where's my mouse? There we go. So we are close. We are close. But now, next thing you'll want to do is align yourself with the orientation of the docking port, which is this red X here. We could point directly at the docking port like that, but no. We want to point at the orientation of the docking port. It's the difference between having... What's going on with chat? The John Madden did the voice? John Madden. Football. Ayu. Alrighty. Am I missing anything? I don't think I'm missing anything. Okay. So, the difference here is, say you got the taco truck. Say you got the taco truck here. And you want to dock with it using this. So say the docking port is the taco receptacle interface in the back here, and we need to, dock, because this is how this system works, right? We can either kind of like come in a weird angle like this and just kind of let it wobble around like that, or we can position ourselves so instead of pointing at it, we point it in the same, so it's parallel, and then position ourselves down and then straight in, right? Or, so it's, so it's always, instead of coming in a weird angle like this, we point it so it's parallel, and then we kind of, and dock like that. Censor it, please. You say it's the taco receiving receptacle on the back of the truck here. Alrighty. I don't really know how to do this, or I could use the tail, I guess. This is how I do it. This is how it works. The taco receptacle interface, exactly. So, that's important. We want to get the things aligned in alignment, in angle, because if we come in a weird angle, it's kind of weird, and it doesn't work as well. So, that's what this X represents right here. It represents being pointed at the right angle, not at the target. So now, we're going to need to approach our target, and we can use the nav HUD to help us do that. So we go ahead and hit H to start going forward. We can see that our vector is now going in this direction relative to our target. Let's go and back our velocity off. Half a meter second is good enough for this. So now we're going to need to adjust our velocity up, down, left, right in order to get us closer. So I'm going to use the K key to bring it up, use the J key to bring it over. And as we can see, what I'm doing is, the farther this is away from this, it's going to kind of push it towards the center there. So let's go ahead and turn on the John Madden Vision again. Here we go. Let's go ahead and can I file new here? Where's my screen? Where's my mouse? I lost my mouse. Okay. Let's go to new. Don't save. So as we can see here, that the more that this is away, the more that this is... Oh, great. I'm going to need to choose my colors again. Here and here. Do we got this? The more that this is going to push this away in that direction, right? So we're actually getting a little bit too close. So we're going to go ahead and back it off a little bit again. Alright, so we're going to do this again. So now the way it is, say if we go ahead and point this right here. If we kind of imagine that this vector right here is actually pushing this vector away. It's like creating some sort of force, and this vector is going to go in this direction. Right? So what we're going to want to do is get it so this vector right here is actually on somewhere around here to push it here, so this one wants to go in the center. Hopefully that makes sense. So we'll go ahead and switch ourselves over here and do that. So now we're going to go ahead and move this here, like I said before. And you can see, you can kind of imagine like this force that's pushing this magenta target angle, target marker away from this. And our objective is to get them all aligned up on the center here. The greater that this is, the farther that this is away, the more that it's going to want to move. So I'm just using the keys, the IJKL, HN keys, in order to adjust this. And as soon as it gets all lined up, then I'm just going to want to get them pointed at each other. I turn on fine-tune control, and bam. They're pretty much perfectly lined up. And honestly, I could go and make myself a sandwich, and this thing would be docked by the time I got back. So I'm just kind of adjusting using IJKL to get this thing perfectly aligned. And I have fine-tune controls on now, and we are good to go. I can just leave this to do its thing. So our objective here is to get all those markers lined up. The X marker, our pointer marker, the target marker, and the velocity marker, they all need to be lined up perfectly. And as we get closer, it's going to slightly drift off because it's not perfect. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of adjust it a little bit more. How am I doing the John Madden vision? I'm using MS Paint and chroma keying it. Chroma keying white. So my objective here is just to get that pink marker directly on the center as possible, because that makes this a little bit easier. And as we can see, at this point, we are really close. We are really, really close. Get Epic Pen. It does the same more conveniently. I'll have to look that up. Epic Pen. Epic Pen. Epic Pen. Nice. Alrighty, I'll have to look at that. Okay, so now we are docked. So that kind of concludes the first section of the rendezvous and docking. Does anybody have any questions about that? And I'll be happy to answer them. I could ask questions too, but I'll answer them too. I'll sit here and hopefully my internet doesn't drip out or Twitch doesn't drip out. I'll eat some chocolate or something. What is the maximum speed that you want to dock? Probably 0.3 meters a second. This is not an SSTO. This launches just like the NASA space shuttle. Yeah, definitely stay below half a meter a second. I say 0.3 and below is nice. Hey, DJ. Weren't here for the rendezvousing part. I was thinking about doing another sort of rendezvous, and the rendezvous is actually rendezvousing with a station around another planet. I've got a really good system for that, and I want to go and show that off. So as for the rendezvousing, in order to rendezvous with something, This recording should be on my YouTube channel in the future, so if you want to go ahead and go over to my Twitch channel and hit the YouTube or whatever, somebody can, you know, link that in chat. That'd be greatly appreciated. This is that. This is the conclusion of the first part of the docking rendezvous. So, tacos, I can't get my relative velocity lower than 7, and it starts going up, and how do I fix that? Well, you have to consider that you have to be within 2 kilometers of your target, or the way that the orbits work is you can get it to stop, but then it's going to start accelerating again. You need to be close to your target before you drop your relative velocity to 0, because if you are lower, you'll basically, if you're lower, say like your target is right here and you're like right here and you drop your relative velocity, it'll stop, but then it'll start again, and then you'll actually start falling down because you're too low. You're not going fast enough. Can I use the capsules to demonstrate how to get that out of the bay and manipulate it? Yeah, I can show that. Let's go ahead and F5 this though. I kind of intended for this to stay the way it is, and this station really doesn't have anything. But let's just go ahead and decouple this, and we'll use the RCS and SAS to pull this out. So I'll go ahead and control from here, and turn off fine tune, and just pull it out like this. And we're using SAS to keep this stable, because without SAS this thing will start tipping because the thrust is asymmetric here. Can you use the, sorry. Hey Grignak, how's it going? So here we go. It's a very simple, pointless station. There's nothing. The station won't be able to operate by its own. It doesn't have any sort of controller or anything like that. So we just brought this up here to mess around. How do you actually know what angle to put the engines at the back? For the shuttle, that was kind of a guess and check thing. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and put something around the moon for a moon orbit rendezvous. Now, I don't know what to put around at the moon. I was thinking about putting another shuttle, maybe. And I could do that, because I like shuttles. And I like to show off the shuttle. I just need to get the shuttle out there. So let's see if this is going to be possible. Can you send a link to the vid to explain shuttle physics? Yeah, if Mod wants to do that. You know what? Let's do the same thing, but we're going to go ahead and use this to go to the moon. Just keep in mind that this stream has been about docking and rendezvous, not about shuttle or going to the moon, so I'm probably not going to spend too much time answering questions about the shuttle or actually going to the moon or anything like that. If you can't get to the moon at this point, don't worry about it. You might want to watch one of DOS's tutorials. I'm doing specifically rendezvous and docking. So let's go ahead and go to the Hercules station here. I think we should be able to go out to the moon using the shuttle. It's going to be kind of dumb for us doing it, but I think we'll be able to do that. 5,000. We might need to cheat our way there. We just need to get some sort of a vessel out to the station. So let's go ahead. I need to do the proper calculation here. I need to find out how much delta V we have after we are in orbit. Okay, 1700. Yeah, if that's the amount of delta V that we have, we should be able to make it to the moon if we keep the E-tank attached. So let's go ahead and load the station again. Yeah, but keeping a story short, another way to keep this thing balanced is you need to have the center of mass and the center of thrust kind of aligned with each other. And that's why these engines are kind of gibbled in a certain way. If we take a look at the center of mass and the center of thrust, it kind of is pointing in the same direction. And as the center of mass shifts, you need to adjust the way that your thrust is. So I turn off these engines, and then it kind of shifts everything backwards, and it's still pointing in the right direction. Hopefully that makes sense. That's a really shortened version of it. But that's how it works. Alright, we're going to go ahead and send this thing to the moon. I'm going to see if I can get this thing to the moon. It's kind of a learning process for me. I've never taken this thing to the moon. I've taken it to Lathe, but I don't know if I can get this at the moon. Anyway, let's go ahead and launch this. See how we do. Am I going to make shuttle with proper gimbaling? No, probably not. Alright, so we're going to the moon. Let's go ahead and choose some more Kerbals. Let's go ahead and get rid of these guys. Garignac! We're going to go ahead and add a Kerbal. Wasp City or something. Go and create a Kerbal. Satnam, you're already chosen. I think you're already chosen. Garignac, the rigged man. Dibby. All the same people, yeah, I know, right? Alright, one more person. Mike! Alright, Mike, you're going. Cheats! And you just won. Spell your name right. Cheat! Oh. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and send this thing to the moon. We got Grignat, Wasp, Dibby, and Mike heading out to the moon, preparing for launch in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of the Hercules lift system with Hercules Station number 2 heading towards the moon. Roll program complete. Music's really quiet. Let's turn that up. Yeah, it doesn't look the most stable. It works, though. We've never had an ascent failure. Yeah, we've just had landing failures. Land on the moon? We're probably not landing on the moon. We're just creating another station to rendezvous on the moon. So we're currently 6 kilometers in altitude, traveling 165 meters a second. We are close to our pitch maneuver here. When we reach 10 kilometers, the vessel will gradually pitch over towards the horizon during the cruising section of the flight. During that, the boosters will flame out and separate from the vessel. Land on the moon, like you'd normally land a shuttle. What? Alright, we are pitching over here. Alright, we're turning off those engines to keep things stable. These last tanks will empty. We'll go ahead and separate the boosters. Three, two, one. Separate. Booster separated. We'll continue into orbit here. Do I have Ferrum Aerospace Research? No, this is pretty much stock. This is pretty much stock. All the parts and whatnot. I have some HUD enhancements, but it's pretty much stock what we're flying here. Oh, jeez. I'm sorry, Luis. I'm sorry, but it was Nightbot. Nightbot did it. I didn't do it. Can you upload the space shuttle? You want to try it in the future? I think when I'm done with the save is pretty much. I was supposed to be done with the save on Sunday, but things happened yesterday, so I couldn't really work on getting my new save set up and working, so still working on the old one here. So what we're doing now is we're going to the moon. This isn't a tutorial for going to the moon. Hopefully those of you who are watching already know how to do that. If you don't, you know, this tutorial probably isn't that helpful. If you're looking for a tutorial on how to go to the moon, I do recommend either watching like Scott Manley or Das Valdez. They are mainly the tutorial sorts of people, but I just want to show rendezvous and docking, because that's kind of a more advanced thing that I do all the time, and I'm just trying to help. Anyway, so we're just going to go ahead and put ourselves into a parking orbit like before, about 80 kilometers. I like to set my parking orbit about 80 kilometers. Makes things a little bit easier for me. Depending on what you want to do, you might not want to have it higher or lower, but 80 kilometers is what I like to do. Scoot Minley, yes, exactly. Hello, Scoot Manley. Alright, we're going to go ahead and coast up to Apoapsis. We'll circularize, Flying this thing is a little funny because I can't point directly at the at my vector prograde. I need to kind of estimate it because because I'm not thrusting directly forward. I'm thrusting downward, so I need to make sure I'm pointing at the pointing my engines through the center of mass at the vector. Yeah, it's all confusing. I don't even want to get into it. I'm just kind of eyeballing it and saying, oh, that looks close enough. This looks close enough. It looks like if it's kind of like this, that's okay. You know, but it's slightly off. So, you know, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Alrighty. See, I'm off by about 1 kilometer. This, I'm perfectly fine with. If I'm gonna be anal about it, I'll say, oh, well, it needs to be exactly, you know, 100 meters off or something like that. Nah, you know. I was showing you how to do that, but it's really not necessary. 1 kilometer off is perfectly fine. Alright, we're going to the moon. What's our relative inclination? It's 2, so that's gonna be exacerbated as we go out and we rendezvous with the moon, but we're just gonna go ahead and deal with it. Let's go ahead and bring this back here, pull this back, and we're just gonna go ahead and put this in a moon trajectory here, and we're just gonna go ahead and put it somewhere on the moon. 50 kilometers is great. That's a great place to put it. Go ahead and kind of point in the general direction of what we need, where we need to be thrusting. And once we get around to that burn, we'll go ahead and do it. There we go. Thrust factor compensation on the navball would be awesome. Yes, it would. Wait a second. Addle! 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 Addle 42, where are you? Addle 42, where are you? Scooby-Dooby-Doo. I think we have something for you to do, Addle. You and Idiom need to do something. Get a vector that represents where you're thrusting through, and it'll be perfect. Do it. Is Addle even here? He's probably not even here. Okay. Somebody get Addle. Addle a hee hoo. Ah. But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I need a vector that kind of shows where my engines are thrusting through, and so I can more accurately control this thing, right? Right? You see what I'm doing? You see what I'm doing? See what I'm doing? Alright, so I think I need to burn here in just a few seconds. We'll be heading out to the moon. Looks good to me. Alright. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Kind of got to eyeball it here. Maybe we can, aha! Alright, let's... Oh, no, that's the wrong key. Camera. I just need to drop this out. There we go. Alright, let's see how we did. Burn was kind of close. It's, That's really what I have to say about it. We'll have enough in order to, stop around the moon, but we need to actually fix that because we are doing this a little bit too crazy. Let's go ahead and maneuver here. Yeah, we need to go ahead and pull back on the Donger direction here. So what we can do now, if we can just go ahead and point here and use our RCS, I think that'd be useful. Come on. Come on. Let's go ahead and tab over. Nah, no. There we go. See? I'm using RCS and it is slightly adjusting that. Are there multiple streamers on KSPTV? Yes, if you want to go ahead and check out the schedule, it is below. Somebody might be able to run the schedule command in the chat. I am Shimmy the JJ. If you are interested in seeing more of what I do, you can pop on over to my channel, twitch.tv/ShimmyTheJJ. I do stream on this channel every Tuesday, but I do stream on my channel multiple times a week too. Kerbal Space Program Focus, but other games also. But yeah, not simultaneously, of course. Thanks, Freelani. Also, hello, Kentep, how's it going? Hello, Kill Connor. Using all my monopropellant. All my monopropellant, meaning just so many some of it here. Alright. I've been using my RCS in order to adjust this. I could have used something else, but this is what I've been using. Let's go ahead, since we have the opportunity here, we're going to go ahead and set the moon periapsis to 20 kilometers. A nice safe distance away from the moon, but close, but close. So now, we'll go ahead and cruise on out. Cruising Space USA. Remember that game, Cruising USA? Cruising! It's creating a musical dissonance completely by singing over the Johannes Brahms I'm playing in the background right now. But yeah, remember that? Remember the game? And you could ride on the walls, and you get, if you knew this how to say this code, you could be the police car. I like that game. I had it on Nintendo 64. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and do our SOI transition. This is not about going to the moon, this is about rendezvousing with something with the moon here. Is Shimmy back on 6.4? No, not yet. I had planned to start doing that today, but I didn't really have any time yesterday to work on it, so I'm doing kind of a tutorial thing. Taco Tuesday! I had tacos at midnight, and that's why that other vessel is called Tacos at Midnight. It was an ode to the tacos at midnight, or something. Alright, let's go ahead and get this thing into a circular orbit here. So let's go ahead and talk about circular orbits again. We want to get it circular. Of course, using maneuver notes aren't going to be the most accurate thing, because you can't really do a burn instantaneously. It takes a period of time in order to do the burn. And the way that the system works is it doesn't assume, well, it assumes that you'll be doing the burn instantly, that you accelerate from 0 to 50 meters a second instantaneously. That's not how real spaceflight works. It takes a little while to go places, and it takes a little while to accelerate, because rockets, if they accelerated at like 1 billion Gs, people would die, and we don't want that. We don't want people to die. Well, at least I don't want people to die. Maybe you want people to die. I don't like you if you like that. Alright, let's go ahead and point on around to our maneuver node here. Tacos at Midnight would be a good name for a book. Yeah. I was thinking also, like, a really good, like, surrealist painting or something. Later, CPTJRT! Jimmy, drink! Drink! You'd be surprised. I am drinking a Dr. Pepper today. But usually when I go out and get a fountain drink, I usually get a Dr. Pepper. Because if I'm going to have a Coca-Cola, I'm going to have a good Coca-Cola, not a crappy fountain drink Coca-Cola. So take that. Take that. Alright, so we're planning to do our burn. It's in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. It says it's going to take 23 seconds, so we'll keep that in mind. Cut that in half. That is 11 and a half seconds. Let's try not to be late on a burn today, because I'm trying to answer questions in the chat. Try to do the burn immediately. On time. Oh, I'm late already. Maximum power! Anybody remember the game Wave Race 64? Wow, wow, wow! Maximum power! What are the wings from? They are stock wings, sir. They are stock wings. They're composite wings, but they are stock wings. Alright, so I'm in an orbit 19, or basically 20 by 22. I do have an issue with radial velocity, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and burn down to adjust that. I'm going to bring down my vertical speed to 0, and while I'm doing that, I'm also adjusting this. I kind of overdid that, so where were we at? Where are we at? Apoapsis, let's go ahead and burn kind of prograde, but downwards. This is something that does take a little practice, so if you are interested in getting circular orbits, it's just going to take a little practice in burning in the right direction. You can either do burn prograde and wait and do prograde, retrograde at the apoapsis and periapsis, but if you want to get it immediately because you are impatient like me, you can get to it by doing a little up or down-ness while, you know, before it happens. So let's go ahead and do this here. That brings it down, this bringing up. I would say that's good enough. 20 by 21, or 20.1 by 20.6. We are good. Let's go ahead and get rid of our external tank. We don't need that anymore. It did its job. Let's go ahead and activate our main engine fuel here. No, our orbital engine fuel. Let's turn off our main engines here. Activate our main engines. Not that we're going to use them, but say if we wanted to return back home, we could. We might. Hopefully we'd be able to. I don't know if we were going to be able to do that. Anyway, we got our Kerbals here. This is Hercules Station 2 in orbit around the moon. We're going to go ahead and send somebody out here to rendezvous with these fools. So let's just go ahead and point them in a weird direction, just because that's just things that happen. Stations sometimes point in weird directions. And turn those off, thank you. And we're done. Here we go. We have a station that we're going to try and dock to around the moon. Okay? Am I going to try and reenact the Doctor Who episode? Alright, so now, let's go back to Space Center. We're going to go and launch another rocket, and we're going to go ahead and try and rendezvous with that space station that we just go ahead and put around the moon. So let's go ahead and take the other vessel. Let's go ahead and take the Tacos at Midnight and upgrade it so we can get it to the moon. So let's go ahead and load Tacos at Midnight. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. FI recently? I haven't. I have not, because I'm a scrub. Alright, so now, honestly, we could take this entire thing, take it out to the moon, but let's be a little bit safer about our life here and design this in such a way that ensures that we're going to be able to get out the moon and be able to return with no problem. So we're going to actually make a Kerbal departure stage that is a smaller stage here. Actually, wouldn't need to be, I think it's about that big is probably what we need to do. Maybe a poodle? Or one of these thingers? Or a something. What do we want to do? That looks good to me. This is what we're going to try and use to push out to the moon. And we'll use the rest of it to maneuver around the moon. So we'll go ahead and put these here for fashion sense. And we'll go ahead and move them up. There we go. Add some struts to stabilize our stabilization. There we go. Now we need to go ahead and put this entire thing into orbit. Get out of here. We don't like you. There we go. So, we'll go ahead and take this. That be enough? No, it won't. Let's go ahead and give it a little bit more fuel. Maybe this amount? No. This amount would be good. That's a good amount. Could we make this thing a little bit more fat and more stable? Possibly. What do we got here? We got 1440 and 7200. That's about 31 something, right? 30, 33? I'm just trying to make things kind of... What is this? What is this? That's nothing. Okay. That might be too much. It's a little bit too much, but it does look kind of cool, doesn't it? Tacos at midnight, yes! Just building a rocket here. I'm kind of fashioning it up right now. Bear with me. Maybe we go and use this, use that, but take one of these, put that there. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. That's something we might want to do. Or if we had something in here, do we want one of these that are actually the right amount of fuel? How much is in there? 72? Ah, get out of the way. Fuel. Got these new parts, and I haven't really got a lot of experiments. Spearmint flavor. What am I saying? That's kind of cool looking, honestly. Ooh, look at that. Look at that, ain't that neato? It's not really lined up properly. Oh, wait. Bam! Look at that! That's our stage. It kind of looks dumb. It kind of looks cool, though. That's what we're going to use. And we got plenty of Delta V. Now we just need to go ahead and put a lower stage on this thing. And that's what we will do. And we'll go ahead and use this. One of these, maybe. Let's go ahead and make this thing kind of look pretty. Pretty princess. Fortunately, I'm gonna have to... I don't have editor extensions installed, so I'm gonna have to, get this working in a different way. Let's go ahead and attach these here. Oops. Can I attach these on there too? Yes, I can. That kind of looks dumb. I could either bring it up or bring it down. Or I could bring these down here. Bear with me. I'm just playing rocket dress up right now. 'cause I like to dress up my rockets. Alright, let's see if we can get these things locked into place here. There we go. This is an interesting looking rocket. Sorry, I'm having fun right now. Using plane parts on a rocket? What in Kerbal is going on? Science is going on. Deal with it. I like it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Look at it. It looks cool. It looks like something. I don't know what it looks like, but it looks cool. Alright, let's go ahead and put our things in here. Let's go ahead and add some struts, because struts make things more stable. Let's go ahead and put this thing into orbit. It's Kerbal's beautification program, yep. And we could actually add the little thing on the top. You know, let's go and do that right now, because if I'm going to make it beautiful, I might as well go the distance here. Let's go and attach this hanger on the top. What happened? KSP, please. There we go. Okay. Tacos at Midnight Mark II. Deal with it? What are we dealing with? Yep. Action groups. Abort. Activates this decoupler. Activates this engine. Action group 9 activates this engine and decouples this. Parachutes are 8. Solar panels are 5. I don't think I have anything else. There we go. Hey, let's do a thing. Let's do a thing. I don't know if this will help, but it actually looks like it's supposed to go on this thing now. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. Ah! Okay. Why don't I use the abort action key? I did. It's right there. Alright, Tacos at Midnight Mark II. Yeah, Squad said that they were improving the aerodynamics, or at least adjusting the aerodynamics in one of the upcoming updates. Looks a bit like a Saturn V. Yeah, more like maybe the Saturn 1B or something like that. Alright, Tacos at Midnight Mark II, launching. We gotta choose more Kerbal split in this thing. Crew manifest. Remove, remove, remove. Winner. Random tank. Random tank. And Kerbal. I'm not allowing people to say no today. Show me the JJ! I can't go, I'm already on a thing. Trike boy! Hey, Trike, just stop. Thank you. There we go. Oh. Golden Dragon. Alright, we got a crew. And the Golden Dragon is the badass. There we go. Golden Dragon Kerman. Added. There we go. Good to go. Going to space and beyond. F5 for safety. And 3, 2, 1. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Alright. Have a night. Thought you say you couldn't say you want to go. Not today. Today's a special day. Today is I'm doing a tutorial, so it really doesn't count. Alrighty. Launching in 5, 4, 3, 2. Wait. Staging. 2, 1. Go ahead and bring our throttle down a bit. It's a little bit high. There we go. How does one get such a perfect angle of encounter? I'm not exactly what you mean, but I'll try to explain what I'm doing here. I need to know the answers to 2 questions. Green or black olives, and am I wearing socks? I'm not really an olive person, and no socks. That was my foot on screen. For those of you who are into that sort of thing, right? Space feet, yes. So I'm just making an orbit here. We're going out to the moon, and I'll go ahead and talk about rendezvousing with a target around the moon here. All you know is my knee. Yeah, I don't really ever sit like EJ, but yeah, I gotcha. I got what you're saying. Picking up what you're putting down there. Well, I kind of set my my apoapsis to 86. I want to be 80 because I wasn't paying attention, but this isn't bad. Anything below 100 is a good good parking orbit. So circular orbits, pretty important. So we're working on that right now. Alrighty. We're off by less than the football field. I'm pretty happy about that. Let's go ahead and plan for the moon. So I kind of eyeball it, kind of just draw a line that is a tangent to the circle here. Create a maneuver there, and then go from there. There we go. A little bit too high. Let's go ahead and set this as target. Bring this out again. And then pull this back a bit. Looks good to me. Let's go ahead and separate this. We got our Kerbal departure stage here, and our Tacos of Midnight spacecraft attached to it. It says estimated burn of 4 minutes and 44 seconds. That's really inaccurate. So as we get closer, maybe 2 minutes away, we'll go ahead and give it a little love tap. 1 minute and 10 seconds, so that's about 35 seconds is when we want to do the burn. Let's go ahead and point towards our maneuver and wait till T-minus 35, and we'll go ahead and do our burn. Alright, 45. Alright, pay attention. Pay attention to the game, not the chat while I do this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, burn. There we go. The weather you brought back from Utah, yeah, it's a little cold. Actually going up to Utah next week, so I'll actually have about a week off from streaming. Does it feel weird? The rockets are small? Yeah, I know. These rockets are not shimmy rockets. Oh, it is hard to read those. I'm sorry. Yeah, my music ticker does go over those. I kind of forgot about that. Well, just keep in mind that I try to say what they are, but sometimes they're not the most accurate. All right, let's see how we did. We are 102. 74. Let's go ahead and use RCS and SAS to kind of bring this thing a little bit lower. So remember what our space station altitude was at? It was about 20. So we want to have our periapsis to be about 20. Alright, so about 20, there we go. We know that our periapsis is actually going to be crossing or be close to the orbit of our target. Just remember that. If we go ahead and pop on over to the moon, we can see here, if we set this as our target, that our orbit is going to be coming really, really close to our target orbit. And we're going to need to fix that just a little bit. You know, obviously it's not perfectly aligned or anything like that, and I didn't do this to be perfectly anal about the entire thing. I just flew it like people would normally fly it, and you know, we kind of ended up with an orbit kind of like this. So anyway, let's go ahead and tab on back. Let's go ahead and make our way forward here. Oops. Since we probably don't need to use this anymore, let's go ahead and separate. We kind of probably adjusted that significantly. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to need to fix that. Let's go ahead and bring ourselves back. Bring about to 19. There we go. Alright, I used some RCS to adjust the forward-backward motion. But yeah. So now, we are heading out to the moon. We're going to rendezvous with our space station around at the moon here. Keep in mind, when we cross the SOI, we want to be in 0 time warp, because that makes the SOI transition the most accurate. So when we get there, we're going to want to stop our time warp here. Alright. So what are we at? We are 30 seconds to go. How goes the docking, Shimmy? Has the shuttle touched the taco truck yet? Yeah. Well, we're making our way over there. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poof! There we go. We are transferred into an orbit that crosses our target here. Let's go ahead and tab on over to the moon. And we'll just go ahead and look at it. We can see that we're close. No cigar, though. So the first thing we're going to want to do, we're kind of lucky here that we've ended up in a position that I think our orbits pretty much touch like that. But what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do this in 3 steps. I'm going to do this in 3 steps because this is going to make it the most easiest. We're going to go ahead and create a maneuver here that brings our orbit into capture around the moon. Just like this. 5 hours is great. Look at this. Yeah. If we do it too high, then it's not going to be captured and we fall out. So let's just go ahead and bring it down to 5 hours here, huh? Okay, that's going to be in 1 day and 1 day, 2 hours? Wait, what? What is the burn? That's weird. T-minus 4. Anyway, you don't have to be accurate. Just make sure that it's well within. You know, because the SOI is about out right here. Just make sure you capture it, okay? As we can see right now, right here, we could actually plausibly just do 1 burn and then burn right here, but that's a little dangerous. So what we'll do, we'll just go ahead and capture into orbit around the moon and then plan for a rendezvous. So we'll just go ahead and do a maneuver right at the periapsis so we know that we could actually continually orbit around the moon. So now we're going to go ahead and point towards our maneuver noter and just wait. This is my on-screen chat. I normally don't have it in KSPTV because I guess that's against the rules or something. I don't know. That's what they say. Who knows? Alright, so we are 40-something seconds away. We go ahead and do a love tap again. Says the burn's going to take 17 seconds. So half of 17 is 8.5 seconds. So at 8.5 seconds, we want to go ahead and start a burn. Let's go ahead and point towards this maneuver. And then, yeah, the PID needs to be kind of adjusted for these things. But anyway. 22, 21. Hey! Is that Fairbomb? Fairbomb! I haven't seen you in a while. How's it going, buddy? Alright, oh, I'm looking at Fairbomb doing his Fairbomby thing, and I missed the thing. I'm kind of used to my game running really, really slow, so it's in my brain. I just think I have plenty of time. Alright, keep in mind that doing a capture burn around the moon just like this, just that we're captured, isn't that big of a deal. We don't need to get it too accurate. The next thing we're going to need to do, so now that we've got captured in orbit around the moon, now we need to align our orbit with our target orbit. So if we go ahead and go back over to our diagram here, we can see this is an example of what's going on here. Our orbit is inclined relative to the target orbit here. It's not this much. This is just kind of an exaggeration, but this shows the inclination difference. What we need to do is adjust our orbit when we get to one of these nodes here. This is the line of nodes right here. Ascending node, and the descending node is right there. We need to adjust it so we're actually coplanar. So it's no longer jagged, it's aligned. Anyway, let's go ahead, wait till that. And a good thing about this, though, is this generally ends up with your node being far out. Far out, man. No, it means if it's higher up in orbit, the less amount of time, or less amount of delta V it requires in order to do the plane changing maneuver. So we go ahead and create a maneuver node there. Descending node due north. That's how I remember. Descending node due north. Come on. And that. It's about the fuel. Sorry about that. Well, about the fuel, that's a whole nother lesson of choosing enough fuel. I just gave myself plenty of fuel here. Let's go ahead and do the burn. Come on. Okay, we're done. How do we do? That's pretty darn close. Alrighty, now, our periapsis is a little low because our target periapsis is, or our target orbit is just at 20 kilometers. So we're going to need to adjust that. So the second thing we're going to need, or actually there's a third thing we're going to need to do, is go up to our apoapsis and slightly adjust our periapsis using our RCS is probably a good idea. Let's go ahead and point prograde here and fix that. 16 is a little low, it's a few kilometers low. So we'll go ahead and use RCS a little bit, bring our periapsis up to roughly 20 kilometers. We don't want it too high. We don't want it too low, just kind of close enough. 20 is good. We're doing great. Now, after we've done that, the fourth step is planning for our secondary burn, which the next time after it, when we come around, we will rendezvous with the station. So now, we'll go ahead and create a burn after all this jimdy jams right here. Create a burn about right here. And then we start pulling back on the retro donger. And you can see that thing goes spinny, spinny, spinny. Woo, woo, woo. And as we can see, we'll end up with a maneuver that gives us an intercept where the separation is really close. Now, let's go and do that again. We want to have it as close to this, because if we have it before, it causes a problem. It's close to here. Sometimes you get it really close, and sometimes, just depending on how the phasing works, you might want to do like a burn right here. Actually, that's even better than last time. Sometimes you won't be able to go that far, and it'll be something like this. Like that, and that's as good. But sometimes you'll be able to go around even one more time. So, alrighty, let's go ahead and pull back on this donker a little bit. There we go. It's not going to be the most perfect thing, but you'll know that you'll be doing the right thing here. And separation, 0.5 kilometer, that is good, especially when you're around a moon. What exactly did you do with the node and the inclined orbit? I don't understand. Alright. So, when you are inclined, the point in which you want to affect your orbit so you're no longer inclined is right at the part where you cross. So if we go ahead and go back to our... Say like this is our orbit right here, and our target orbit is right here. When we get to this part right here, we want to make sure that we're no longer going up and we're just going sideways. So we actually do a burn downwards to reduce our up or north-south direction, so we're actually just going only, you know, left-right, that sort of thing. Hopefully that explains it. So what I did to fix that is at the node, I create a maneuver here. Obviously, we're really darn close, so this... When it's jiggling and jangling around like that, we're actually really close, so we don't need to do anything. But I created a maneuver that adjusts how much our inclination is. So I get it so it's perfect. I pull on the happy and angry triangles here. The triangles affect your inclination. Let's go and take a look at Louise's picture here. That's pretty good. That's pretty decent. Need to make those bigger, but yeah, those are really good. So, anyway, back to what I was doing. Creating the second maneuver of this process that pretty much makes sure the next time when we come around... Actually, let's go ahead and get rid of this. Let's do this again. Maneuver here. Pull this around. It's spinny, spinny, spinny. And we got really lucky here when we approach this thing. We are going to be really close. It's going to require a little finesse, but it's, you want to get as close as possible. And there, 2.4 kilometers. And we can adjust for this as we approach. So 2.4, that is just off. I'd like to get that closer, and I actually had a better time last time. So let's go ahead and... Oh. Go ahead and pull this around again. I'm using my mouse wheel right here to adjust this with the... with that extra little precision. Sometimes it doesn't work the way you want it, so... Ah. Come on. Separation 3.4. What have I done? What is our relative inclination? Turn off RCS. That actually might be messing around with it. Actually, for whatever reason, our periapsis got adjusted, so we need to fix that. Let's go ahead and bring our periapsis down again. So that's actually why I'm having trouble. Bring the periapsis down again using RCS. Bring it down to about 20. There we go. Hold, basically activate time warp so this thing doesn't drift in any way, and we'll create another maneuver here. Alright, let's choose to meet at the orange one, because if we mess up, we can meet at the purple one. One football field, that is looking great. Okay, looking good. So now, what we just need to do is wait till our maneuver burn. What? This is gonna take something seconds. Let's go ahead and do it right now. This one burns again. I'm doing the burn right now. Also wasting my RCS fuel, monopropellant. Jeez. I think really waste monopropellant. That was probably the issue. So after you complete the burn here, it's not going to be the most accurate thing. As we can see here, it wasn't, after I finished it, it's going to be like, oh, well, you're off by a little bit. Actually, it's not terrible. But at this point, what you'd want to do is adjust your timing using RCS. So I would just kind of point retrograde here and adjust my timing using back and forward. And I'm doing that right there. And after I've done that, I hit time warp and just make sure I just leave it like that. So 0.3, 3 football fields, pretty close. Just need to go ahead and time warp around and then wait for the last step, which is the rendezvous portion of the maneuver, which, like before, I kind of messed up, and I didn't pay attention to what I was doing, and so I kind of shot past my target. So we're going to go ahead and do something right here. We go ahead and pull back on this thing and kind of make a, if we make a another maneuver that kind of circularizes, and it tells us how much delta V that we're going to need, 14 meters a second. And so we just need to be aware that when we approach our target, that's how much delta V we need to bleed off of 14 seconds. If we 14 meters a second. No, what was it? What was it again? Yeah, 13 meters a second. It takes about the same amount of seconds. No time at all. You can use the acceleration here, so if it's almost 5 meters a second squared, that means about 3 seconds you'll be done. Also, where's our target? There's our target. Anyway. We are approaching Hercules Station 2. As we approach, we're going to want to adjust our trajectory. This is when we're not, like, perfect, and here's what I do. like before, if I burn here, let's go ahead and John Madden this a little bit. Can we zoom in on this? Alright. This kind of represents what we see on the nav ball here. Let's open up paint again and turn on John Madden vision. Now, if we see our vector, actually we need to go back here. Come on. There we go. All right, so we can see this on the nav ball here, but this is also representing the sky. If we do a burn while we're kind of pointing mostly retrograde here, this vector, imagine this vector is always pushing this vector in a certain direction. So this one's pushing this one, and it's going to go in that direction there. So what we want to do is always kind of, we want this to go over here so it's perfectly lined up. And we do that by always making sure that this vector right here is on that side. If this was over here, then it would actually push this vector in this direction. We don't want that. So this is on this side, so it's actually going to be pushing this vector here when we actually activate our engines. So that's just kind of a way, that's kind of how I imagine what I'm doing when I do this special burn right now. So if I do that, I'm doing the burn, and it's kind of pushing, and now it's lined up. So now, we are coming at the station at 13 meters a second. We're pretty much lined up. Let's go ahead and keep on maneuvering around. We want to approach it at a decent clip, so 10 meters a second is a good idea. 20 meters a second, no higher than that. When I turn on the NFL channel. Alright, so 700 meters out at around, we want to go ahead and make sure that we are about 100 meters, and then we'll go ahead and rendezvous. And how do we rendezvous? We want to make sure that we're pointed at the retro vector, and then we want to basically thrust until our target relative velocity is 0. So that's how we do that. So here's a team, if they want to win, they have to score more points. Exactly. So we are approaching the station, where we want to go ahead and rendezvous at about 100 meters away, and we're ready for the docking process. So 100, let's go ahead and go full throttle here for a second, and bring it down. I'm still pointing at the retro vector, and bringing it down as low as possible. There we go. That's really close. We're about 68, 69 meters away. Now we need to go ahead and get in the docking corridor again. So, if we can just go ahead and turn off this. Let me go ahead and stop. Just stop. Just stop, please. Thank you. The docking corridor. So we're going to try and dock with a docking port that's right here. So I want to get in kind of this corridor that is represented by an area that kind of represents an area like this. Try to get in this like little corridor here. Kind of this cone-ish area in this area right here. just an idea what you're going to want to do. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I use nav HUD to do that. So let's go ahead and switch over to chase mode. And I'm just imagining myself entering in that docking. Where? Oh, we're going to need to find the ship wherever it went. There it is. You want to get in that docking corridor. We're going to just kind of point in this direction. Activate our engines. You don't have to use your engines. You can use RCS. But this vector right here is going to tell you in relation to your target which direction you're going to be heading. So you just want to finesse that around a bit. And after you've kind of got a good idea, you know, this is going to require some imagination. Let's go and point back to the retro vector again so we can slow down. But yeah, we're pretty much coming in aligned with our target here. And as we get close, we're going to want to go ahead and do the retro burn to slow ourselves down relative to our target again. And again, you don't have to use your engine. You can use the RCS instead. I'm using the 909, so it's not a lot of thrust, so it's you can be a little more cautious of that. If you use something like a mainsail, then you know, you're probably going to want to use just RCS, because you don't want to forget RCS. So now, again, with the docking, again, we are going to go ahead and do the taco receptacle attachment maneuver. This is our station. This is the craft that we're docking with. We want to make sure that they are docked to each other. So this is the docking port. This is the other docking port. We want to have them docked. Now, one way to do it that a lot of people do it, they just kind of get it, oh, well, it's coming in. Okay, that's kind of close. And then it kind of wiggles around, and then it gets docked in. And it's kind of annoying. A better way of doing it is making sure that they're, instead of they're all weird aligned, you get them perfectly lined with each other. Perfectly aligned. Even if they're not in the corridor, they're perfectly aligned in angle, and then you basically just translate it around and you dock. So oh, you guys, what else am I supposed to do? It's spacecraft docking. It's a taco truck and a space shuttle. So, how do we do that? We use nav HUD to tell us which way to point. We're going to go ahead and set this as target, and then we're going to go ahead and point our, I don't know what to call this, just our reticle directly at the X. And what this tells us is we're pointing in the same angle as our target docking port. So we're going to use fine-tune control to get this aligned. So now that means, what this means is now that they're aligned, even though they're not pointing at each other, they're aligned. So then basically you just kind of translate around. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me go and squish my head now. So that's what I've done. I've pointed that around. So now we're going to go ahead and just kind of translate our vessel. Up and around. And I use chase mode here in order to help me do it. Sometimes if you don't like chase mode, then what you're going to want to do is make sure everything is aligned towards the planet. I just ignore the planet. I just pay attention to what I'm docking to and the craft I'm flying. So let's get in that imaginary docking corridor. Again, because we're kind of off. We're kind of off. Now, our objective here is to get the green velocity vector, our reticle, and the X all lined up to each other, and that means we are ready to dock here. So let's go ahead and tab on over. We're using the X here. Let's go ahead and turn this off, turn it back on, tab on over. Make sure things are not wobbling around, because it seems like things might be wobbling around. So, like before, I'm going to go ahead and maneuver this vector around. So this is pushing this over so they're all aligned. So remember, the John Madden vision, if we go ahead and do this, activate this, and activate this. Where's my mouse? You always got to imagine that this vector is going to want to push this vector away. So basically, it's going to create kind of like a force that pushes this vector in this direction. But we want this vector right aligned with the center right here. So what we want to do is actually maneuver our forward vector to this side right here, so it pushes this vector directly on point here. That's how I figure out what I'm doing. It takes a little while to get used to, but that's what I'm visualizing in my head. Go ahead and turn off John Madden vision and do what I said. Let's go ahead and resume flight. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and move it here. And now we can see it's kind of moving in that direction. I don't know why everything's so wobbly right now. I just think it's just... I don't know why everything's really wobbly. But sometimes you have to deal with wobble. Just keep in mind, as long as it's close, the magnetization will save you. What is this doing anyway? Is it wobbling? Nope. So we want them all lined up right at the end here. And sometimes when things are a little bit too wobbly, you just need to finesse it all the way in there before it docks. So sometimes you can let it glide in, sometimes it takes a little finesse. So I'm actually kind of fighting this extra wobble. Something is wobbling, I don't know why. But as I approach, I'm just keeping things aligned. And the magnetization will take over and will lock into place really closely, and we're docked. So, that is docking and rendezvous and docking with a station around another planet or moon, and that was also docking again, and also the rendezvous with something around Kerbal. Why you no make realistic shuttle lol? I'm guessing that's a troll, but I'm not sure. I don't know what's up with the new SAS. Maybe it's the struts or something? I don't know. Whatever it was. But here we are. Our station that we used. We can go ahead and call that a day. Anything else that you'd like to have me explain in regards to docking and rendezvous? I really don't want to spend too much time talking about the shuttle. I've done that before. It will take a long time to explain. I will be releasing the craft file sometime in the future. But anything related to what I've been talking about today, I'll be glad to answer the questions. Just as a reminder, I will be putting the recording of this stream up on my YouTube channel, so if you want to watch it again, you can do that. It'll be up in a couple days, and I'll have that there. Maximum safe docking speed, 0.5 meter a second. I tried to keep it 30 centimeters a second and under, or 0.3 meters a second and under. Explained by the way of demonstration. There you go. I don't get the entire spinning thing you did before docking. Rendezvous? Rendezvousing in atmosphere? Ugh, I'm awful at that. How do you turn on SAS? The T key, the T key. Yes, also, it's great to turn on or turn RCS and SAS off when the dock starts to pull, because, you know, say if you're not perfect and they both have SAS on, they're going to want to stay in this weird angle, but if you go ahead and let them relax, you're going to have a better docking experience. You got to relax. It's very important. If you're all trying to stay in this weird angle, it's going to be an issue. I don't know what else. It's kind of a fact of life. You need to relax in order to dock properly. It's a taco truck and a space shuttle. I don't have anything else. I don't have anything else to demonstrate it with right now. Do you have to dock something by shooting it with a decoupler? No. Oh, how do you dock some? Oh, that's a very special, method. I can't show that off right now. Weird angles require more experience. I'm gonna get kicked off of KSPTV if I go too far. All right, so it looks like the chat is just devolving into weirdness. I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day here. I have to go ahead and get ready for tomorrow's stream, which is gonna take me a while today to get all that ready. Who is anybody else streaming right now? Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's see. Just a reminder, this recording will be on my YouTube channel, but also I will be streaming tomorrow on my channel. That's twitch.tv/ShimmyTheJJ. Yeah, that's lots of other streamers too. Wow. So just, yeah. I think I'll go ahead and call it a stream. Anyway. Just a reminder, this is KSPTV. This is a multi-streamer channel. We've got all sorts of other streamers. We should have Dahood on tomorrow. We should probably have Declarations on Thursday. Friday is Coffee. And Max Maps, the producer of Kerbal Space Program, on Friday. Saturday we'll have Mater. Sunday we have Tanuki. Monday I think we'll have Das Valdez again. And Greg, Overload UT, and again I'll be on Tuesday. So anyway, if you're interested in following more of what I do, I don't normally do tutorials. I do more kind of advanced stuff. I just kind of play. I kind of have like a campaign that I've been working on in Sandbox, and I hope to continue that tomorrow. Maybe do something special for New Year's. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Keep on questing, quest knots. Once again, I'm Shimmy. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Later.
0 to space in 30 seconds, go. I am Dahood left-handed. 9 months ago, I started making videos to help me fix my stutter. The stutter improved some, but it turns out I really like making videos, so here I am now on KSPTV. Catch my stream every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 4 o'clock for the West Coast, 7 o'clock for the East Coast, and 2300 GMT for everywhere else. See you there.
Okay, just a reminder here, we have our schedule. I already went over it. Go ahead and take a look at it. Go ahead and memorize it. We have all these different streamers here. They're all great. There's a reason why they are on this channel, because they are good. And yes, this is KSPTV. It is the official Twitch channel for KSP, commissioned by Squad, the developers of Kerbal Space Program. But we are not, we don't work with Squad or anything like that. We just do their channel thing.
Do you like rockets? What about space planes? and stranded Kerbals? But mostly stranded Kerbals. Then join me, Nitch, for Start the Week on KSPTV. Mondays, 3 PM EST, 8 PM BST, 11 PM MSK, and 5 AM AET.
Shall we play a game?
Yeah, Floyd Rosenberg Skeleton. Ethan Smith, yeah.
Broadcasting.
Seriously, I'm Tanuki, host of High Gravity. Yeah, that's you.
Broadcasting.
Yeah, you know which one. Yeah, the crazy one. Anywho, come watch me, Jeb, Bob, and Bill sightsee Kerbal, go to the moon, see the solar system, or not. So catch me at my new time, Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, and 10 p.m. GMT on KSPTV.